The night was heavy with silence, the kind that feels almost cruel. Inside the grand, glittering mansion of Alexander Reed, the man the world admired as a genius billionaire, a ruthless negotiator, and a darling of business magazines, there was a storm raging, though no one outside could see it. To the public, Alexander's life looked perfect: a castle, like a state, limitless wealth, and a glamorous mistress who smiled by his side at charity galas. But what no one saw was the broken woman who once held his heart, the one who had given him her everything, and was now carrying his children while abandoned in her darkest hour. When the story began, the pregnant wife, Emma, was not a woman of weakness. She was once the soul of his empire, the quiet strategist, the supportive partner, the woman who believed in Alexander when no one else did. But betrayal, when it strikes from the one you trust the most, burns deeper than fire. The night she found out about the mistress, Alexander had not only shattered their vows, but also shattered the sanctuary Emma had built with her dreams. While he posed with another woman, Emma lay in a hospital bed, fragile, with the lives of her unborn twins fighting inside her. But life has a way of turning pain into power, and what seemed like Emma's defeat was only the beginning of a rise no one could have predicted. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the strength of women who rise after being broken, then please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Royal Stories. And don't forget to comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts as this emotional journey unfolds. And Emma's world had collapsed in silence, but silence breeds resilience. When she was discharged from the hospital after a near-death scare, she wasn't met by her husband's comforting hand. Instead, she was met by the echo of emptiness in a home that once sang with laughter. Alexander had moved on, at least that's what he believed. He flaunted his mistress, declaring her as the woman who would stand by his side in the empire Emma had built alongside him. But fate works in shadows, and Emma carried within her the kind of strength Alexander had long underestimated. In the lonely nights of recovery, Emma planned. Her hands might have trembled with weakness, her heart might have been scarred, but her spirit sharpened like steel. While Alexander drowned in the illusion of passion with his mistress, Emma began to gather the broken pieces of herself and turn them into weapons of dignity, patience, and quiet revenge. She nurtured her unborn twins with love, whispering to them promises of a brighter tomorrow. Every heartbeat of her children became her reason to rise. Every kick against her ribs reminded her that she was not as alone as she felt. She was already a mother, and that role carried power greater than Alexander's billions. Months passed, and the world watched Alexander's mistress live like a queen. Cameras adored her. Society whispered about the billionaire's upgrade, and business partners entertained her, as though Emma had never existed. But what they didn't see was the network Emma quietly built from the shadows. Old friends who had been ignored by Alexander's arrogance, loyal employees discarded in his greed, and family members who still remembered Emma's kindness. They all began to circle back to her. Emma had once been the beating heart of Alexander's empire, and now, in his blindness, he had cut away that heart and assumed he would thrive without it. He didn't know that the empire was already crumbling from the inside. And then came the day Emma chose not to hide anymore, the day she would show the world that she had survived, that she had risen, and that she had not come back empty-handed. In her arms, she held not just the evidence of Alexander's betrayal, but also the most undeniable proof of her strength, the twins. It was at one of Alexander's most extravagant galas, the kind where chandeliers sparkled like captured stars and music drowned in arrogance, that Emma arrived. The mistress stood proudly by Alexander's side, dressed in diamonds, believing she had won the war. Cameras flashed, champagne flowed, and whispers swirled like smoke around the room. And then the doors opened. Emma stepped in. Her presence silenced the air as though time itself had paused. She wore no jewels, no excessive glitter, just a simple, elegant gown that carried the grace of dignity. In her arms, she carried her newborn twins, the living legacy of Alexander's name, the very children he had abandoned, the very truth he could not bury beneath his lies. The crowd gasped, the mistress stiffened, and Alexander froze in horror. The empire he believed was his to rule, the throne he thought his mistress would share, all began to crack under the weight of truth. Every eye turned from the diamonds to the infants, from the mistress to the wife. And in that moment, Emma didn't need to scream, she didn't need to curse. Her mere presence had destroyed him. What followed was not a storm of rage, but the quiet devastation of reality. Alexander's business partners questioned his honor. Society whispered about the cruelty of a man who abandoned his wife and children, and those who once bowed at his feet began to walk away, choosing to side with the woman who had suffered with grace and returned with dignity. Emma, with her twins, became the symbol of strength and resilience. She didn't come back to beg, nor did she come back to reclaim the husband who had broken her. She came back to stand tall, to remind Alexander and the world that no mistress, no betrayal, and no amount of wealth could erase the truth of who she was. As Alexander's empire crumbled, Emma's life bloomed again, not with him, but beyond him. She raised her children surrounded by love and respect, teaching them that pain can be turned into strength and that dignity always outshines betrayal. The billionaire thought his mistress had won, but in truth, Emma had destroyed him, not with revenge, but with the undeniable power of survival, motherhood, and grace. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs inspiration today, and subscribe to Royal Stories. Your support helps us bring more powerful, emotional stories like this to you. And if you've ever experienced heartbreak, but found the courage to rise again, let us know in the comments. We would love to hear your journey. Special request, comment, strength always wins. Below if you believe Emma's courage is the true victory.